She looked me in the eye and said, "He makes me feel alive." So I packed her bags, changed the locks, and told her to go live that alive life. But when her affair partner refused to take her in, she finally realized what she threw away. I, 37 male, had flown home early from a work trip after my connecting flight got canceled, and I managed to grab an earlier direct flight. I thought I'd surprise my wife with takeout, a quiet evening, and one extra night together that neither of us had planned. I walked into my living room carrying warm bags of food, expecting a smile, but instead found her sprawled across the couch, wine bottle half empty, giggling into her phone like a teenager sneaking a midnight call. Those light, breathless giggles were sounds I hadn't heard directed at me in over a year, and hearing them now made my stomach twist. I cleared my throat, and she jumped so violently she nearly yeeted her phone across the room. "You're home early," she stammered, scrambling to angle the phone away from me. "Why are you early?" "Flight got rescheduled." I asked her who she was talking to, and she muttered something about book club. Book club, right? The same book club that met every other week, not daily video calls that required wine and her push-up bra. I asked to see the phone, and she clutched it like it contained nuclear launch codes. So I stepped forward, snatched it before she could react, and looked at the screen. A younger guy, shirt open, sitting in his bedroom, instantly went pale and hung up the moment he saw me. My wife shot up from the couch, wobbling, reeking of wine and panic. "Before you jump to conclusions," she began, but I cut her off, asking one simple question. "How long?" She bit her lip, looked everywhere but at me, and whispered, "A few months." I asked how many. She finally admitted, 4. For months of lying while I worked 80-hour weeks at the firm. For months while I planned our anniversary trip. For months while I paid her car note because she was between projects. And suddenly I realized I didn't want to hear another excuse. I asked for his name. She said it didn't matter. It did, because I needed to call him to come pick her up. Her head snapped up like I'd thrown a bucket of ice water at her. Something in me had gone completely silent. I grabbed her suitcases, opened them, and started packing everything she owned. Dresses, jeans, shoes, makeup, even that expensive hairdryer I bought her for Christmas. Meanwhile, she sobbed, pleaded, begged, but I felt absolutely nothing. She asked where she was supposed to go, and I told her, "Probably to his place, since you think about him so much." She finally gave me his number. I called him on speaker. He answered after 3 rings, and the moment I introduced myself as the husband he'd been sleeping with behind his back for 4 months, he fell completely silent. I told him she needed somewhere to stay permanently. He panicked, saying their relationship was casual, very casual, and that he had roommates, and that she couldn't move in. My wife tried grabbing the phone, but I held it away. I told her to get out. She screamed, "At least he makes me feel alive." And that was the moment everything snapped into place. I grabbed my toolbox, walked to the front door, and started changing the locks while she cried, begged, screamed, and called her affair partner until he finally stopped answering. The new lock was installed before dinner, her bags were on the porch, and I told her she had until morning before it all went to Goodwill. She pounded on my door for an hour straight before finally giving up. The next morning she was gone, and that was only the beginning of a storm I never expected, because that was the night my marriage ended. But the chaos that followed would stretch for months and show me just how much hurt a person can cause when they're desperate and cornered by their own lies. The days that followed were a hurricane of phone calls, texts, screaming, pleading, blocking, unblocking, and everyone in her orbit trying to make me the villain of a story she had written with her own choices. Her sister sent dozens of messages, insisting I'd thrown away 8 years over one mistake. And when I finally replied that she had made one mistake, but made a conscious choice every single day for 4 months, her sister lost her mind. I blocked her. Then my wife started calling from a rotating list of numbers, friends, family, even random store numbers. When I finally picked up, she told me she was crashing on a friend's couch and couldn't live like this. I told her she should have thought of that before she decided feeling alive was more important than being faithful. She begged for counseling, and I told her flatly that I wanted a divorce. She went completely silent. Her mother showed up at my office building, screaming that I needed to take her daughter back. I told her no. She shouted that her daughter had given me the best years of her life. I reminded her that I paid off $34,000 of debt, supported every career change her daughter wanted, and bought the house she lived in. She told me I'd die alone. I said I'd rather die alone than live with someone who thought excitement was more important than loyalty. Security escorted her out while she called me a monster. My lawyer later informed me that my wife now wanted half of everything, including the house that was entirely in my name. 8 years of marriage meant she was entitled to something, but the vandalism charge, the affair, and the harassment worked in my favor. It still took months, but eventually we reached a settlement, $25,000, her car, and her personal items. No alimony. No claim to the house. Nothing else. When we stood in court, she tried one last time. She told the judge she wanted to work on the marriage. The judge shut her down instantly. She signed the papers while sobbing, mascara running down her face like a Gothic painting melting in the rain. Outside, she told me I'd ruined her life. I told her she'd ruined her own. She claimed she'd given up everything for nothing. I told her I wasn't responsible for fixing what she broke. That was the last real conversation we ever had. Now she lives with her mother. Works a full-time job for the first time in years.
Pays rent.
Struggles. Her affair partner left the state after his ex-girlfriend exposed him online. My ex-mother-in-law still thinks I'm Satan. My ex-sister-in-law eventually apologized after learning the truth. Meanwhile, I'm rebuilding. Therapy, work promotion, a new car, quiet evenings without lies echoing through the walls. I'm not dating yet. Trust feels like something I need to relearn slowly, but life is mine again. And honestly, that's enough for now. To anyone going through something similar, believe what you see. Believe what you feel. And when someone shows you who they truly are, don't argue. Don't beg. Don't try to fix what they've chosen to destroy. Walk away. Change your locks, and take back your life one quiet evening at a time.